join. All right. Okay. So today, let me take control on the slide first. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so can you all see the full screen? Never mind. I think I will just give me a minute. I'll just share my screen. Is it okay? You? All right. I'll just share my screen. So, all right. Okay. So can everyone see the screen or not? Can you all see the slides?
Yes, can.
Can, all right. Okay. So later on for before we end the session, so I hope everyone for you that have webcam or anything, you'll just open up, then we can have a photo together. Is it okay? So Yun, later you remind me about that. All right, we should have a group photo together. Okay, so let's begin for today's talk. All right. Okay. All right, so I think all of you can see me and hear me as well. Okay, so the title for today is a glimpse into the programming world. So what I'm going to talk about is all the things that involve in what you will learn in programming in these 2 or 3 years studies in computer science and software engineering. And then today's is more likely something that probably in class the lecturers didn't teach you. All right, something that is current trend in programming world. So basically this is what we want to know, to learn about the webinar today. All right, so what are we going to learn today as well? I will later share to you all some license that I get from education purpose. So you can actually use it and you can learn from the web page that I will show you later on. All right. Okay, so we will go slowly one by one. Okay. So the first thing that the first part that we're going to learn today will be the programming language. What is different programming language and libraries and frameworks. So what is libraries? What is frameworks? So this is the things that probably some of you, I'm sure there is new students and there is senior students as well. Some of you might already know what is programming language, what is libraries, what is frameworks, and you have been using it now. So today it will be just introductions and let all the new students to actually know this. And then for the senior student, you also need to know, or you want to know, why I want to use library, why do I use framework, all of these questions. And then before we end the webinar today, you can actually ask me questions that you would like to ask, and later I'll have a session for you to have a Q&A later on. Okay, now we go into what is programming language, the first part. Okay, what is programming language? So I think most of you know programming language as I learned Java, I learned PHP, so something like that. So you thought that that is the programming language. So actually programming language, there is basically there is 2 categories. One is low level language and another one is high level language. All right, so what is low level language? So you can see here, low level language is basically like machine language, or we call assembly language. All right, it is considered a low level language is considered a machine friendly language. So it is actually when we write low-level language, it requires an assembler. Okay, we call assembler that would translate into instructions. Usually, low-level language we use it in robotics or machines when we want to write some instruction to ask that particular instrument or robots to do something. So because we want to talk with the machines, right? So it's basically, you know, machines just know like 101010 binary bits. So that's why you need a low-level language to assembly, to write some instruction into that machine. Okay, so for machine language, basically is assembly language, or sometimes you can use Python to do it now, recently. So previously there is machine language. All right, so how about high level language? So high level language, there is also different categories, and there is some language, there is higher level, there is some language that is lower level, something like that, but it's not until low level language. High level language is something that is considered as a programmer friendly language. We call programmer friendly language. That means you can actually understand the code easily. All right, and a high level language usually it requires a compiler or interpreter to be translated into machine code. High-level language is something like your C++, Java, JavaScript. So recently, a more higher level language is something like Ruby on Rails, Ruby, and then Python. So there is languages that is more easy for you to compile and then for you to understand. Basically, it is called a programmer-friendly language. All right. So for low-level language, it is a machine-friendly language. So what is the difference between high-level language and low-level language? So high-level language is something that is less memory efficient, but low-level language is high memory efficient. That means low-level language is actually using a little bit lesser memory than high-level language. All right. So for low-level language and high-level language, so high-level language is it is easy to understand. All right, high-level language is easy to understand, and then low-level language is something that is more tough for you to understand. All right, it is more tough for you to understand. And then high-level language also, it is simple to debug, simple to maintain, and then high-level language, it is actually portable, where you can actually bring it to anywhere, any systems, and it is easily for you to install and run, and it can actually run at any platform. All right, but then low-level language is not portable, and then it is basically machine dependent, and it is also very complex and to actually maintain it comparatively with high-level language. All right, and then when you want to debug low-level language, it is much more complex and difficult compared to high-level language that you learn today. All right, so for high-level language, you just need a compiler. Okay, you just need a compiler or interpreter for translation. But low-level language, you actually need something called assembler for the translation. All right, so currently nowadays, high-level language is used widely for programming, and low-level language is commonly used in days before previous days, but now it's lesser and lesser. But some industry, they're still using this so-called low-level language or machine language for their instrument. All right, so this is basically the difference between low-level language and high-level language. All right, so basic operations in, as you can see here, the basic operations for programming languages such as input, output, arithmetic, conditional, or looping. So this is the thing that you will learn how to actually put input, how to actually get your output, print your output, and what is the arithmetic inside there, if less than 0, then what, conditional, and then for loops. This is the things that you will learn in, like, for example, your Java class, your web programming class. You will learn different programming language. So I think most of you have learned Java 1, right? So Java 1, Java 2, Java 3, and then we will learn about web programming. This is thing that you will learn in computer science or software engineering or IT diploma and degree, right? So you understand what is the difference between low-level language and high-level language. Okay, now we go into what is a library. All right, what is a library? So I think most of you will think that library is, okay, by the way, library is not the one you go to library and borrow books, so it's something different. So in programming world, so what is a library? So library is actually a collection of pre-compiled, as you can see here, pre-compiled and non-volatile routines used by programs. So there is people who actually write these pre-compiled or modules for you to actually be able to reuse it to write into your systems, and this is something for you to reuse. Like for example, there is programmer who already write those libraries, and then after they write these libraries, you can actually just use it and plug into your systems. This is for you to actually be able to save your times, and then you can actually work in a faster way. All right, in a faster way. So we can see here, these routines, sometimes called modules, okay, library we call modules, can include configuration data, documentation, message templates, subroutines, classes, values, or type specification. And the greatest asset of a library and the reason for their use is the ability of reusing the behavior. All right, so there is a lot of programmer out there that write a lot of libraries. Then it is very easy for you to just use it. You can reuse what they write. All right, when you use a library, program gains the behavior implemented inside the library without having to implement that behavior itself. So what libraries are available today? So you can see that we have jQuery, we have this _JS, REFL, typefast.js. So the most common thing that you will know is jQuery, I think. Okay, most of you know what is jQuery, right? So jQuery is actually a fast and small, feature-rich JavaScript library. All right. So when you do your web developments project, you will basically you will use jQuery library. It is something that people write for you for a simpler understanding in JavaScript. So it makes things like HTML documents, manipulations, event handling, animation, and Ajax. All right, Ajax much simpler with an easy to use API. So jQuery is actually one of the we call API library. Okay, that works across a multitude of browsers. With a combination of versatility and extensibility, jQuery has changed the ways of millions of people that write JavaScript. So when you learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in I think internet application, you'll find that it is difficult for JavaScript. So it is the same for all over the world. All the programmers, they also think that JavaScript is a bit difficult to understand. But how they make it simpler, then it comes jQuery. All right, jQuery simplify JavaScript. So this is one of the type of library that you can find in programming world. All right. So beside jQuery, so jQuery is one of JavaScript library. There is also a lot of different library in, like for example, Python. I think some of you join my AI class, right? So you can see in my AI class, you have used some different library like Pillow. So I think previously I let you all use something called Pillow. Why do you want to include Pillow? So Pillow library is something that in Python is going to create bitmap images. So if you want to create some images, then you have to include this library. So when you include this library, you can actually from your code, you can generate the image out. All right, image out from that. Then you also have like NumPy in Python. We have matplot library. So this is different libraries you can use in Python language. So in different languages like PHP, JavaScript, Python, whatsoever, there is libraries that is already there for you to use. So before you actually develop something, instead of just writing by your own all the ways around, then you use a lot of times. Instead, you can go find whether the library is exists or not. Okay, just like if you want to create a system with QR code scanning, then you can just go and find a library that already do it for you. All right, you just have to plug in. And for example, if I want to do a chat room, so you don't need to, some students that think that, oh, it is very difficult when I ask them to do a chat room, but instead you just have to use the library, just have to go and find something that you like, the library that you like, and plug into your system. That's it. All right, so that is what the library for, is for you to reuse. All right, it has the ability of reusing the behavior. Okay, so that is for library. All right, I hope you can understand. Okay, so next, let's see about what is a framework. All right, what is a framework here? A framework is a real and conceptual structure created to serve as a support or guide for the building of something that expands the structures into something useful. So as you can see, frameworks here, we have like AngularJS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, we have Laravel. All of this is we call frameworks. All right. So framework can include various tools, code libraries, compilers, and also application programming interface we call API, bound together to enable the development of project or solutions to a specific problem. So we can actually do all the things in a faster way. You can imagine these frameworks as a ready-to-use packages, such as Instant Soup. As you can see here, when we want to do something instantly, we can use frameworks. Previously, when we want to do projects, it is like the students will do from A, B, C to Z by their own. Right? Nowadays, no. You don't need to actually do all the things by your own. Like for example, log in and log out. There's something, all the systems that already there. They already use login. They must have login, logout authentication systems. So you don't need to actually write this anymore. Like for example, in Laravel, you just have to put in like a code enable authentication. All right, you just enable authentication. Then like mac auth, you just mac.auth, something like that. Then it will create all the login, logout, registration all for you in a single click. All right, and then like for CRUD, you can also just using the framework, you can just key in few words, then all the CRUD is there for you. All right, you just have to type in what is the input that you want, what is the output that you want. That's it. All right, so some examples of the most popular frameworks today can be for all-in-one developments, such as Twitter Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is one of very common we call front-end frameworks. All right, so Twitter's Bootstrap is actually something that introduced by Twitter. All right, introduced by Twitter, but nowadays a lot of people that they use it for their development. Bootstrap also is open source software, so you can see all the source inside there, how to actually write the CSS for this character or for this. You can go online and search for the code. All right, it is open source. That means it is free for you to search for it. You have foundation, you have front end boilerplate, automasis. This is all the front end frameworks. All right, for JavaScript, there is Node.js, Backbone.js, AngularJS, Vue.js, React.js. This is all more popular JavaScript framework that you can use. Okay, so to be able to work outside, so nowadays when you go out to interview, you go to some company for interviews, the first thing they will ask, what is the framework that you know? They won't ask, oh, do you know programming language? What is the programming language that you know? Do you know how to write HTML, CSS, JavaScript? No, they won't ask you like that. They will They will ask you, what is the framework that you use to build your projects? What is the framework that you have learned and you are familiar with? Company out there, they won't wait for you to write single code like HTML, CSS, JavaScript by your own. Then they have to wait how many months to get their product? No, they will directly ask you to use framework or learn the frameworks to actually do their projects. If you don't know frameworks and you go interviews and you start your works, I'm sure your salary will be very low. But if you're already very familiar with all those frameworks that I mentioned just now, you can choose one front-end framework, you can choose one back-end framework. Just one is enough. Like for example, you want to be familiar in Laravel, then just go ahead to be familiar with Laravel. If you choose to learn Ruby code, so you just go and learn Ruby on Rails. So that is back-end framework. So for your front end, you can learn either AngularJS, React.js, Vue.js. So this is the thing you have to learn no matter what. So nowadays in your resume, this is the thing the company look for. All right, this is the thing the company look for. So they want to know what is the framework that you know, because you can just use framework to develop the system in just one day or anything. In case like, for example, PHP, like PHP, we have Cat PHP, Symfony, Laravel, Pelican PHP. You're not going to learn all of it. You just choose one of them, be familiar with it. You do all your projects with the same frameworks. Like for example, if you want to be familiar with Ruby, then you just go and learn Ruby on Rails. It's enough. All right. Like my husband is a programmer. He is very good in Ruby on Rails, and he will only find jobs that company that use Ruby on Rails. Then his salary can be very high because he can be a very experienced programmer in Ruby on Rails. If I'm the boss in one company, I won't want someone who know all the frameworks and then you just know a bit. No, I don't want. I want someone who is familiar with just one framework and you are very familiar with it. You know all the libraries in there. You know all the codes, all the syntax very well. You know how to debug it, everything. Then that is the person that I want. All right. So some people you don't like about back end, so you don't like to do all the back end things like the database things or functioning things. You just very good in front end development, so you just focus in AngularJS, Vue.js, Node.js. Then you try to be very good in the front end. Then when you go out to work, you can become a front end developers. So you can choose to be front-end developers or back-end developers, or there is a lot more. So then we'll talk about that later. All right, so this is about frameworks. So what is programming frameworks? Why do you need to use programming frameworks? So it is actually a tools. All right, programming framework is a tools to make your life easier when performing common programming tasks. So some common programming tasks, as I mentioned just now, CRUD, authentication, this is all the thing that we will usually use. Like admin task is almost all the same, just add, update, delete, that's it. So what is programming framework in simple terms? So in simple terms, a programming framework is a pre-packaged set of solutions that solve common development problem. So that is what's the meaning of framework. So it is a pre-packaged sets of solutions that solve common development problem. All right. So what is the purpose of programming framework? So as I mentioned just now, first, the most important thing in programming framework is it save time. All right, it save times. So frameworks helps developers save time by not having to solve common or recurring problems. So all the recurring problems that all the programmers already know, they solve it for you there. Then they created this framework. All right. So the second thing is to actually ensure best practice are always followed. So if you write from A to Z for programming, I'm sure it is very easy for me to hack into your system because you won't consider some security issue that it is already common among programmers, but probably you do it, you already ignore it. Saving times isn't the only use case for programming framework, but programming frameworks can also make a difference when it comes to a crucial area such as security. All right, so security is a super tricky part of software development, and it is crucial for developers to get it right, but it's so easy to get them wrong. It is very easy for you to get right in security if you learn it, but it is also very easy for you to get wrong. All right, so that's why you use framework. Framework already consider all the, like, for example, SQL injections, access problems. So all these security issues, they're already considered for you. So you don't need to worry about, oh, do I need to write something like how to actually prevent SQL injection? Do I need to prevent all those colons, everything? So frameworks is already do for you. So for programming frameworks, as I mentioned just now, there is web frameworks, where we say front-end frameworks and also back-end frameworks, and also mobile development frameworks. All right. So front-end frameworks is something like, as I mentioned, AngularJS, Node.js, React.js. It is for you to actually develop some things that is client part. In computer science or in programming, we have something like client side and server side. So client side is something in your Chrome browser, so that is your client side. So server side is something where you put all your database in your server to run your programming. So that part is server side, then that is backend. All right. So for mobile development frameworks, besides AngularJS, Bootstrap, Laravel, Symfony frameworks for backend, so there is also some frameworks for mobile development. So if like you all wish to do mobile apps in your final year projects, you can start learn today. So nowadays, very popular frameworks is like Flutter. Flutter is something you can build for either your Android apps or your iPhone apps. Flutter is something you can do for web apps as well. So we have Flutter, we have Xamarin, we have Ionic, all right, and React Native are some of the best known names in mobile development framework. All right, so this is the thing that you can start to work with from now. No matter you are first year, second year, third year, you don't need to wait for your lecturer to teach you. You can start it now. So for your computer science, why I say that there might be no lecturer teach you in university, because all this is framework. So what we are going for lecturers, what we teach you is something that from your what we call that, your beginner. We need to teach you all your we need to teach you all the theoretical things, and then we need to teach you from the A to Z. So then only you can know how people write framework. All right, we need to teach you the basic of all the programming instead of teaching you just framework. If I just teach you framework, that will be something like, okay, now I know how to use framework. But if I want to have my own code, or I want to have some special function that the framework don't have, then you don't know how to write it. All right, so that's why frameworks is for you to learn by yourself when you know all the basics. In universities, we teach you all the basics. All right, so that is the difference between it. Okay, for programming frameworks, there is some common misconceptions about programming frameworks. Usually people have a misconception between frameworks and programming language. So when I talk about AngularJS, when I talk about Bootstrap, when I talk about Ruby on Rails, when I talk about Laravel, some people might say, oh, Laravel is the programming language. No, Laravel is not a programming language. Laravel is a framework that uses PHP language. All right, so AngularJS is not a programming language. AngularJS is a JavaScript framework. Node.js is not a programming language. Node.js is a JavaScript framework. So Bootstrap, is it a programming language? No, it is a CSS framework. There is a lot of CSS framework, there is a lot of JavaScript framework, there is a lot of PHP framework, there is a lot of Java framework, a lot. All right, there is different programming framework. So an easier way for you to understand is like, for example, people will argue that about Python language and also Django. So Django is a framework of Python. All right, it's not a Python language, but it's a framework of Python. So this is how you understand the difference between framework and also programming language. So just now we see programming language, right? So that is programming language. So this is framework. All right. So I hope all of you understand. Okay. So learning programming language or frameworks library. So you can see here, this is programming language. Programming language is something you need to know to actually for you to be able to learn framework. So you can choose either one of these programming language. You can choose Python, Ruby, or you can choose PHP. This is programming language. So when you choose that particular programming language, you're familiar with that programming language, then you go and choose your framework. So if Ruby, you can go for Ruby on Rails. If PHP, you can go for Code Editor, or you can go for Laravel, you can go for Symfony. It depends on you, which one you like. All right. For JavaScript, you can either choose AngularJS, you can choose Vue.js, you can choose React.js, you can choose Node.js. For CSS framework, you can choose like Bootstrap, you can choose like Foundations, you can choose like materialized CSS. This is all CSS frameworks. All right, there is different types of frameworks out there. And then there is different programming language. So this is the difference between programming language and library or framework. So the easiest way for you to choose is you need to go online and search, all right, which framework have more libraries. So there is more programmer contributes into this framework, all right, because almost all of this framework, it is open source, as I mentioned. So you can also be one of them who actually contribute into the open source software. All right, you can write a library and contribute into it, no problem. As long as you can do it. If there is some library that you use, there is error in there, and you can actually solve for them because there is open source software. So it's like improved by all the programmers over the world, day by days. All right, day by days. Okay. So before we go into part 2, now I open for questions. So is there any questions? Do you understand what I'm talking about just now? All right. So do you have any questions? How about Yue Yun? Do you have any questions? You can be the coordinator for me. I see here. So library is for reuse. Yeah, there is a lot of library types. You can just use the library for your implementation. And framework is for structure. Library is inside the framework. So frameworks, there is a lot of library inside there. Understand? Framework is something like Laravel, something like Vue.js or React.js. Then you can use different library inside the framework. Depends on how many programmers that already write out the libraries for you. So if that particular framework, there is a lot of library, that means you can solve your system very easily. Get it or not? Android Studio is the platform for the mobile development, yes. But Android Studio is for you to do the native app for only Android apps. Flutter and Ionic is something that you can actually write, and it will generate the Android apps, iPhone apps, and web apps together for you. So framework combine multiple libraries to perform a function. Framework combines library. Framework is like something like you will use it. All right, you will use it. There is some library already in it, but you can also use some of the libraries. You can choose the library that you want to use to do your systems. There is a lot of different libraries inside the frameworks for you to choose to use. All right. Yeah. While you use the framework, you're using the framework to build your system, then you can choose the library that you want to use. All right. So any more questions? If no, then I will go into learning and career choice. So far, can you all understand? Yeah, you can choose multiple libraries, no worries. There is a lot of libraries for it. For example, if I want to do a chat room, then I can use a chat room libraries. Just like previously in AI class, I teach you about Pillow, right? I teach you about there is NumPy, different things. So that is the libraries. So if I want to use for this purpose, then I will use this library. If I want to use for another purpose, then I will use another library. Get it? So if I want to use authentication, I will use authentication library. All right, something like that. So if I want to use SMS libraries, then I will just go and find the SMS libraries, just like that. All right, so we go into learning and career choice here. All right, so we need to be fast. So necessary skills required for programming. So what is the skills required for programming? As you can see here, we need to have self-reliance, language, logic. Logic is very important. If you want to build something, you want to build a system, you have to be a very logical thinking person. All right, you will see from beginning to the end. All right, I need you to log in before you do this, you do this. If this, then what? If this, then what? For else, whatsoever. So this is what I call logic. All right, then you have to have the attention to details. Yes, so if when you go around and you know a lot of things, you know the process in details, then you can have a complete system. Most of the time, the students, like for example, they want to build a so-called a library system, but they don't even actually know the process in the library. So it is very difficult if you don't understand the details in the library system. You will just build something that people don't want to use because there is some function that I want to use, but inside the system you don't have it. So why do you have the attention to details is very important. So you need to have those abstract thinking, yes, because if you don't have this abstract thinking, you cannot build something out of the box. Like for example, Shopee. So it is when before they do everything, so they have the abstract thinking, so they come out a lot of functions, special function, like for you to play games, to grab to grab vouchers or whatsoever. So you need to think out of the box. All right, then you can only create something that is useful for everyone. Okay, so patience is very important because all of you, I think you always will find bugs when you do systems, right? So if you find bugs when you do systems, then forget about it, I cannot solve it, then you go and sleep. Then that is a good way where when you find bugs, you go and sleep, because the other days when you wake up, or after 1 or 2 hours when you wake up, you can see, oh, there is the error. So this is usually what I do during my study time. When I cannot do this thing, I just go and have a rest. Then after, when I come back, I can see the bugs easily. All right, but you need to be patient. If you like, for example, 1 or 2 times fail, then forget about it, I don't like programming. That's it. You end your programming life. Actually, programming is fun and nice, just that you are not too familiar with it currently. No worries. All right, programmers, you will be very familiar just after 2 or 3 years. You can be very good in some programming. All right, and then memory. So why do you need to have memory? Because you need to remember from your previous error. So if you have this error before. When you do like this, don't repeat the error. So that is where you need to have the memory. Why need patience? Why need patience? So some company given project have need to quickly and do that shorter. All right, so patience is a must. All right, if you want to do things quickly, patience is there. You need to be able to handle the stress, everything. All right. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so this is all the skills. Not only this, there is much more skills that you need for programming. All right, but the most important thing for programming, if you want to success in programming, is it's not here, but is your what do you call that? Your heart. You need to be in programming. Understand? 兴趣. So you need to like programming. You need to love programming. So when you love it, then everything will comes into you. You will go and you will have the patience in learning, finding the answers, everything. Because all the answers programming is there in Google. So you just have to find it. Understand? So when you decided to be patient, or you like programming, then you can build something that solve humans' problems. So you can be a very good person. All right. Okay. Useful resources. All right. So you can see that I think most of you know W3 schools, right? W3 schools, there is a lot of code inside there. Udemy, or we have free code camps. We have whatsoever tutorial points. All this is the place for you to learn programming. Don't expect from your lecturers. All right, don't expect from your lecturers. You will need to do a lot of hands-on by your own. When you listen to theory, no, you cannot get it. I'm sure you cannot get it. But if you do the practice by your own, you can get it faster. Probably 1 week you can learn the whole semester things already. Get it? So hands-on is very important. So don't wait for lecturer to give you assignment, then only you go and do it. Don't wait. So go and learn it by yourself. So later on, I will share you some plans for you to learn, tutorials for you to do hands-on everything. Yeah, hands-on is the only way to improve your skills. That's it. So no other choice. You listen from lecturers if I give you lecture every day, daily, no use if you didn't do the hands-on by yourself. All right. Okay, so let's take a look on career options. So beside this, there is actually a lot more of career options that you can do. But instead, you can be a web developer. So web developer, you can have a front-end developer, or you can be a back-end developer. Depends on you. So front-end developers, you can actually get 7,000 Sing dollar per month in Singapore. Back-end developer, if you are experienced, you can get up to 10,000, 15,000, no worry. All right. One thing to share to you. Last week, one of my students, your senior, just graduated 2 years before this, called Aka. I don't know if you all know him or not, but he just shared me a photo. He said, lecturer, I just buy my BMW, 290,000. Just grad 2 years. So he is just in one company from internship until now, 2 years time from internship until now. And then I say, wow, you buy a BMW. So how come you just 2 years and then you can buy a BMW? Because from interns, he now become a manager position. And then his salary just in his company, just in you know Taman U there or not, Pulai Utama. And then his salary 1 month already reached 11,000 per month. So previously interns, the company give him around 2,000 per month. So then he perform, do the projects, guide projects, everything, do very good. Then until now he become a manager. Just 2 years time, he already get 11,000 per month. It's much more than me. Understand? So another student, also your senior, that ever come to our university before, call later if you want to find intern, I can introduce to you. So he is the CTO of that company. So he already buy a Porsche. I don't know how much he earned by month, but I know he hired my student 1 month 6,000. So can you see that this computer science career is already up from normal salary? It can go very high if you can perform. So what you can do in your study time, you go and get interns, or you go and find jobs out there. You can help with like 500 salary per month or 300 salary per month for you to learn. All right, that is the best ways for you to learn. All right. During final year project class, yeah, there is a lot of seniors. We have CTO, we have CEO. I think there is 3 students becomes a CEO by themselves. They open their own company and now they earn a lot. One of our seniors just grad diploma only, so he do apps to Food Panda, and then he owned that company and now is keep selling already. So this is what you can do when you graduate, or during even before you graduate. You can do some apps, or you can do some system to start selling it. Get it? All right. So career options, you can see here, we can become a UI developer as well. We can become a user experience designer, SQL developers, quality assurance engineer, automation test engineer, software engineer, testing engineer. So one thing you all can try, whether you like or not. I want you all to know how to write test cases. So you can go online and learn how to become a software tester. All right, so there is one website you can become software tester where you can earn money. It's called UTest, UTEST. So you can become a software tester in that for that particular platform, and then people will send you that, like PayPal or Facebook, when they have new feature, they will send you their new feature to try on. You can try on, find what is the bugs inside there, then you report, you can earn money. So that is what we learn in software testing. So you can become a software tester. There is a lot of career options you can be after you graduate as software engineering, or you can as when you graduate as computer science. All right. Okay, so this is the different tools used by programmer. This is the different tools used by programmers. So we have GitHub, we have NetBeans, Bootstrap, Node.js, AngularJS, Eclipse, Jira, Microsoft Azure. So this is the different tools. So now I'm going to show you where to actually get all the tools and for free, and then to learn it. All right. So later I will share you a file as well. So that file is with so I think that's it for these slides. So I will show you for the, give me a moment, give me a minute. Right, I will show you this one. I will share to you this these files. All right, so actually I have get some license that is free for education, but you don't share it out. You don't share it out. Just share among yourself. All right, so I will download it down for you. Okay, as you can see, like the first one, can you all see my screen? So the first one is like Balsamiq. So Balsamiq is for you to do prototype, or we call wireframe. All right, this Balsamiq I already get the license key. So before you want to build a systems, or before you know how to do programming, you want to try on it. So you just go ahead and have this license. So this license is until 2022. All right, June 30. So later I will share the, give me a minute. I will share the file to you. Okay, here is the files. So you can go and get the license key here. All right, you can get the license key and you can start using it. And then we also have Axio. All right, Axio is also a prototyping tools. I think it's something that is introduced by all the programmers out there. All right, so students, you can actually get 1 year free license. Lecturer, I can get 2 years free license, because student can get 1 year free license when you apply using your email address. Then I hope you can go and apply for it yourself. All right, so I don't share my lecturer's license. You can go and get it by yourself. Okay, Axiom. So another one is Bootstrap Studio. So Bootstrap Studio is also free for students, but you have to, okay, now we go into this GitHub Student Developer Pack. This Bootstrap Studio is actually for you to write all the HTML, CSS, JavaScript very easily. When you drag in and drag out, then you will see the code down there. What I want is not asking you to learn how to drag. I want you to actually, when you drag, you learn from the code out there. So there is HTML, CSS generated after that. So you will need to learn how to actually write your own HTML and how to actually change your own CSS for the Bootstrap. All right, so this is why I introduced Bootstrap Studio to you. All right, so for all the students out there, I'm not sure whether you all registered for this GitHub Student Developer Packs already or not. For those who haven't, go and do it, because actually the first thing that I already do, I already maxed that. I already becomes the partner. All right, partner university. So this is what we call partner university. So you can see that I'm already one of the campus program partner school. All right, I go and apply by myself. So it benefits all our students. So you can see that only our students, you can get this GitHub Student Developer Pack. Okay, so we find where is, sorry, we will see where is Malaysia. Let's take a look. Where am I? Okay, so let's take a look on where are we? Okay, so you can see that here we have Tunku Abdul Rahman, so Southern University College. So we are one of the university in Malaysia that is the campus partner with GitHub. So not much. So you see this one is from Singapore. Then we have Newcastle, Tunku Abdul Rahman Chinese College, and so I think that's it in Malaysia. So not much. All right. So when you scroll it in, let's take a look. All right. Okay, you can see Pinta College, Perdana University, Newcastle University, and Tunku Abdul Rahman Chinese College, Senai Industrial, Newcastle, Headquarten. This one is in Singapore. So we are one of the university in Johor that becomes the partner university. All right, Southern University College here. So what is the benefits of becomes the college partner schools? So all our students, you can actually get this GitHub Student Developer Pack for free. So let's take a look what is GitHub Student Developer Pack. So what you need to do, is just go into GitHub, education.github.com/schools. Then you go and get your Student Developer Pack. All right, you go and get your Student Developer Pack. Then you click on like, yes, I'm student. Then you just go into and register using your school email address. All right, using your school email address. Okay, so let's take a look. So this toolbox is what you will have when you when you apply for the GitHub Student Developer Pack. Okay, now we take a look. So you can see that this is all the things that is free for you. All right, we see one by one. So for example, this New Relic, what it do? So New Relic is an observability platform that helps fully understand how to improve your software. All right, it gives you 300 per month. And then we have Twilio. So Twilio is a developer platform for communication. So you can add Twilio APIs to add capabilities like voice, video, and messaging to your application. For example, you're doing some system that you need voice, video, or messaging, then you can just apply this Twilio inside there. So it will give you 100 USD, all right, for the Twilio API credits for you to test on your system. All right, then we have Arduino. So if you are from EE students, you can use this Arduino. Then you can have this GitHub Classroom as well. This classroom is for lecturer. So for students, you can see on this. So icon, if you want different icons, this one you can get 60 premium icon per month for 1 year. You just click it in like this, get access, click in, then you can get it. Okay, so one thing I want to introduce to you is this educative. for students, this educative. So when you click in this educative, all right, you will go into a page like this. All right, so you claim this offer, you click claim this offer. All right, so from here you can learn Python, JavaScript, C++, TypeScript, or whatsoever for your own. So for example, this one, become a front-end developer. So if you want to learn, especially for those beginners, so you want to learn front-end, you get started. So you can see, you can just this one. All right, so now you can click start learning. All right, you can click start learning. So when you start learning, there is different modules. So this one is something you need to pay, but you go to my courses, so you can see that, okay, when you click in all, so this is the thing that I learned. For example, I learned Flutter. Okay, I want to learn Flutter. So here is all the contents that I can learn from the beginnings to the end. All right, so you can see it will tell you how to do hello Flutter apps, and then build your contact profile page. There is one by one, all it teach you how to write, okay, the code from beginning to the end. So this educative is very good for you all to learn. I already checked, there is a lot of things that you can learn from there. You just click in my course, then you choose on what you like. Okay, when you go and all here, all right, when you click on all, there is a lot. There is around 60+ courses for you to learn. So just choose anything that you like. For example, you can have full stack web development with Firebase. So if you want to build something with Firebase, and then if you want to learn SQL in details, so I think all of you are not good in your SQL, go ahead and take this course. All right, then if you want to learn application security, what is SSL, what is SQL injection, then you can go to this class. If you want to learn from beginning, like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, go into here. Go into this. This one teach you all the beginnings to the end. All right. Then if you want to learn some progressive web apps, you want to learn predictive analysis with Python, you want to learn about DevOps toolkits, practical security, how to prevent yourself, okay, and then you want to learn TypeScript, or you want to learn microservices, Python for data analysis and visualization. There's a lot. All right, you can go and take a look on yourself. You want to learn Python for scientists and engineers, you want to develop Flask in Python, all of this, I think you can go and learn by yourself. All is free. All right, so how to learn React for free, just go ahead and take a look on that. The course is good. All right, so the course is good. So next, you can go ahead and take a look on all this, like Go Rails. If you like to learn about Ruby on Rails, JavaScript, TurboLinks, Vue.js, there is free access to videos and lessons for 12 months for the whole year. All right, so I think this is good. Go Rails is actually, you need to pay quite a lot of money if you want to learn for yourself if you are not a student. But if you are students, you have this GitHub developer packs. You can actually have free access to all the videos and lessons for 12 months. Okay, then you also have this education host. Education host, you have the web hosting platform to host your assignment and project. So I think most of you want to know, like, after I do in localhost, how can I host my apps online? So you can see this is all the free one for you. So you can have 2 GB of storage space, 5 GB of bandwidth, and .educationhost.cloud subdomain free for 1 year. All right, there is a lot of domain that is free for 1 year here. You can go take a look on that. So there is a lot more. So name.com, you can have the free domain name with your email hosting, and you can get it for free with this. And then as I mentioned, Bootstrap Studio. So you can get the free license for Bootstrap Studio while I'm a teacher. If you are a student, when you are still a student, you can get the free license for free. All right, for the Bootstrap Studio, just go ahead and click on this. All right. Then after that, you can have DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean is something very expensive if you want to host your thing online. All right, so you can have 100 USD credit for new user if you apply through this your GitHub code. This is my code. You don't capture down my code. You use your own. All right, then you can get the 100 USD. So I'm using it as well for free for 100 USD. So all these you go and take a look one by one. So Twilio is something you can play with games or anything. You can take a look on that. All right, so that is for your tools. And then some other tools I have right here. So what is Twilio, everything from the page that I give you just now. All right, so this is all the things. And then one more tools that I can introduce to you all is Slack. So for programmer out there, that actually learn something like they actually use Slack or Basecamp to organize their project. All right, Slack or Basecamp. So Basecamp is something like you want to organize a project with your teams, how to do it together, and then how to share your code in GitHub. So for GitHub, so why do I want you to learn GitHub? Git is a place for you to share your code, or you can find the code online. All right, so let's take a look on GitHub. For example, all right, so I have a GitHub. Okay, why is it good for GitHub? So I can just simply say, okay, GitHub, I want to find a Laravel project for Instagram. All right, Instagram. I want to find a Laravel project for Instagram. Okay, so I can see there is one person who used Laravel to do Instagram. I want to see the code. So I just click into here. Just click into here. Here is all the code. Can you see that? Right by him. So, but you need to test out whether that person, this system is good for you or not. Then you can just click here and you can download zip. You can download his code and then you can try to run his project. Then you can, from his code, you can learn how to actually write code. All right, you can go and find a lot of different things you want to do. For example, if I want to learn a simpler thing, I want to know project to do list. All right, I just click. Okay, I want Laravel, right? Okay, there is a lot of people who do to do list. I just click into it. All right, I just click into it, and this is the Laravel code for to do list. All right, this is the Laravel code, so you can see that they will write how to actually run it, composer, install, migrate, serve. Then you just have to download. Zip. Then you can use all the code. So besides you upload your own codes, you also can get codes from other programmer. So this is what we call open source. All right. So don't just copy and submit something people do for your assignment, but instead you can learn from that. Okay, I hope that today's workshop can benefit all of you. All right, so remember today's workshop, Yun has applied for the Live 20 and Live 30. So please scan the code. Okay, please scan the code for your Live 20 and 30 attendance. So I think Yun has shared the code already, right? Yun has shared the code. Please scan this code. All right, for your seminar event attendance. And see there before 12:30. All right, please scan your seminar attendance before 12:30. All right, so I think that's all for today. So do you have any question? I just open up for Q&A. So please open up your mic and talk to me if possible. Okay. So just open up your mic. All right. Okay, so now I open for questions. You can ask me anything, any questions that you want to ask. I'm okay. Okay, do you have any questions? So just let me know. Is it clear for everyone? Clear for everyone. Right. So anyone who have any doubts? Go is a programming language as well, but I'm not familiar with it. All right. So probably you all just use some language like today's in today's world, Python, JavaScript, JS is the first winner. I mean, until today, the winner is JS. Okay, JavaScript. So if you want to learn Angular JS, React JS, or Vue JS, it is good for you. Almost all the company that look for JS. Second, you can go for Python. You can go for Python, Laravel, and also Ruby on Rails. So this can get you high salary jobs. Yeah, we can have a group photo. Can we? All of you, can you open up your camera? Can you open up your camera? Then we have a group photo together. Yuyun, can you help me capture the screen for the group photo?
Okay, so for those who have a role, you can, yeah, I will stop the recording first.
All right.